appealing. If this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link. Okay, let's just get down to it. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Did y'all notice that when I went live, I was all the way already in the middle of something? No, I'm sitting at 8 o'clock. Boom, I hit it, right? Except I didn't go live first. That's because I'm barely here. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you, I don't know if it's because I'm 61 and I already go to bed at night. I try to between 8:30 and 9 p.m. You know, this is what I get for laughing at my grandparents when they used to go to bed at 7. I was like, it's still daytime. I think I'm going to change my bedtime because I'm telling you, I could not get up today. So pray for me, y'all. I'm here. Let's wake up together, shall we? Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. Who am I? I'm kidding. It's not that bad yet. Lauren Michaels Harris here with you today. Say hello to my sidekick, Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. She's been here all 7 years. That's right. Last week, I went over the 7-year mark. So I'm so excited. Are you? What? Okay. That's right. He can't wake up and he talks to inanimate objects. I sure do. That's the Bella purpose, folks. It is not a gimmick. It's not a show prop. It is actually an opportunity, a reminder, if you will, that just like that bell has a ring to it, you guessed it, so does the truth. And when you hear me ring the bell, it's because I know you're busy. I get it. Flat iron that hair, girl. Put on them eyelashes, right? But don't get so busy that you miss the ooey gooey goodness known as truth. It can change your life. And that's what we're here for, right? Thank you all for being here. You get good morning, all you beautiful people. And the first thing I want to do is to confirm that we are here at the same mindset, sharing that heart space of service to each other, looking for different ways to ease suffering in the world. Can I get an amen up in here? Thank you so much. I'll kick it off. I only have one announcement before I get today's guest in here. It's the same one I gave you yesterday. I have a new one starting tomorrow. If you are in the Chicagoland area or know someone who will be around August 31st or September 1st, I'd love to meet you. I'd love to meet you at the 2023 Accelerator Business Summit. It's out at the beautiful Tinley Park Convention Center. It is one of the nicer suburban, if you will, convention centers. You don't have all that congestion and traffic that you get downtown at McCormick Place and whatnot. So it's a great place to have an event, and we're going to be there. Over 30 speakers. They are up to almost 100 exhibitors, And our keynote speaker for both days is Dr. Sanjeev Chopra. Great guy. I've become fast friends with him over the last couple months preparing for this. And he sent me a few of his books autographed. This is his keynote topic for the weekend. The two most important days. Do you know what they are? The first one is the day that you were born, and the second one is that day that you find out why. And so if you want to join us, I have a discount code where you can get 30%, I believe it is, off the ticket. There it is right there. And I will take the liberty of dropping that inside of your comment section. So you can go over and get your ticket today. And I will see you in Chicago. Let me drop that in for you. Robert A. Lane. You guys want to play the guess the middle initial game today for a book bundle or maybe a gift card? I'm going to tell you what I'm guessing. You know, I get to guess first. I think it's Allen. Robert Allen Lane. Wait. All those L's. Would I have done that if I was his pair? Adam. Robert Adam Lane. Oh. Arnold? Now I mixed you up. I threw that in there. If you have a guess, put it in the comments. Whoever's right is going to get something today. Take something home with him. So Robert Lane is he's helping nonfiction authors narrate and publish their own audiobooks. You know the platforms are the 3 A's, Audible, Amazon, and Apple. And guess what? He does it in just 6 weeks. He says it's your book, your voice, and he has an audiobook coaching program, right? So yeah. Oh. I'm at his I'm over on his website, and as you can see, I'm quite intrigued, right? We're going to drop that in so you can get over it. Anyway, we're going to get him in here. So many people have books. I have a book. I'm writing a book. And I've never thought about having an audiobook. And I see hold on, you guys. You know what I have to do all the time. It's so odd. When they start messing with the internet, is on his way in. If you've ever thought about having your own audio book, get your notepad ready because this is the guy. Here he comes. Put your virtual hearts on the screen, and we're going to welcome so we can get started. Here's Robert A. I'm just trying to see if I want to change my guess. Well, now that I see you, I'm going to change my guess from Alan to Adonis. Good morning, Robert Lane. How are you?
Good morning, Lauren. How are you? So good to be here.
Good. Now, when we go through this interview this hour, you know, don't try to upstage me. Stay in your lane.
Ah,
get it?
Oh boy.
I'm trying to wake up. Pray for me. Listen,
hey,
so
I'm
happy to have
right here.
Loving the. I don't have a brown bag. I have every color under the sun because every year there's a different. I have those are look. I'll show you. Those are all the robes from the different seasons over the past 7 years, and I don't have brown. Just saying, you guys.
This is a special robe. This is my dad's robe, and so I'm just carrying on the tradition of wearing his bathrobe.
Oh, I love that. So listen, I have a little thing I do where I like to dip out for a second and give the guests just, a minute or so to just talk directly to the audience, start your own vibe, tell them the things that I didn't, bios are overrated. There's nothing like a face-to-face. So it's all you. Take it away. I'll pop back in and we'll get officially started on how you're going to help everybody get their audiobooks. Okay.
All right, great. Well, it's Robert A. Lane. I will not give you my, my middle name yet. Lauren, so far, not correct. So the contest is still open. I am an audiobook coach and producer. I do help nonfiction authors, published nonfiction authors, take their book and turn it into an audiobook that they narrate on their own. And I'm a big advocate of having nonfiction authors narrate their own book, because this is your story. And only you can express your story the way it's meant to be heard. You wrote it, you've experienced it, you've published it. It's your unique style. And your personality is in your written word. And it only makes sense for you to be the one to do the audiobook narration and bring those words to life in your own voice. It's great to have a professional narrator, which will sound great, but the one thing that they don't have is you, your personality, your unique style, because that's in your book. And a narrator just isn't going to bring what you bring to the table. So I help authors narrate their book, get them published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. I call it the AAA. Those are the three main platforms that you really do need to be
on. Okay. Thank you for that. Oh, that's better. Let's start with this. So, let's talk about you, origin story a little bit. So have you written any books?
I have. I do a book that I wrote called Lights, Action, You.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me get ready. I didn't realize you were that you were Quick Draw McGraw. Okay, I got something for you. Oh, and I know the real name now. Okay, there you go. Go ahead.
That's perfect. Let's get it in there. Hey.
I just happen to have it right here. Go ahead.
This is this is when I was really focusing on doing career coaching. So I worked 30 plus years in the entertainment industry in various facets of the business, on camera, off camera, radio, television, movies. The last roughly 14 years of my career was spent at 20th Century Fox on the corporate side as a feature project manager for the studio. And so after I left the business, I wanted to do something that was more fulfilling and helpful for people. Right. So I decided to become a coach. I started off as a career coach. I did write this book called Lights, Action, You, which basically takes some of my best stories, experiences working in the business. And with each story, I tie in a concept or a lesson that I learned from the experience, and then I wanted to bring that in the book to help people with certain aspects of just working in a job. It doesn't have to be in the entertainment industry. You know, the book brings some of that behind the scenes, but it's not written for entertainment people. It's written for everybody. You know, because we all experience the same things, time management, toxic work environments, worrying what other people think, building confidence, all those things that we experience. I talk about the concepts in the book. So, that's what inspired me.
Great. So, well, you're definitely an authority on the subject, and now you've gotten to where you want to help other people. So did you, of course, your book is on Audible?
Yes,
your book
is
an audiobook?
Yes,
okay.
It is.
Now, I'm going to sneeze. I feel like it's coming. So if it does, just know it's on the way. I can feel it. Let's talk about people who already have. Told you. Thank you. I heard you say bless you. Thank you. People who already, because there are people who are writing books currently. There are people who are thinking about one day I'm going to write the book. And there are people who have already written books. What about if a person has written a book, say 5 years ago, and they want to revive it? Is this maybe an alternative to relaunching it, adding a little something new, and just doing it the same way you did it before? Maybe you could use possibly the same book, just bring it to life through an audio version and save yourself all the extra headaches. Talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, those are the best clients to work with, because you have a book that's already published, which is great. That is a fabulous way to revitalize this book and relaunch it. Definitely, you
Mhm.
can relaunch it, and recording it in your own voice, presenting it, as an audiobook, then that just opens the door, not only to expanding your market, but now you can, uh, again, relaunch the entire package, whether it's an, ebook, paperback, hardcover, and now audiobook. Do a big, launch again and say, here's my audiobook. And you can also get it, as an ebook or a paperback, and just do, a great promotion to let people know that you have all these different formats of my book now, and here it is. So it's definitely a great way to bring life back to that book that you've already published.
You know, that's true. If I'm to be honest, I'm looking around. Why? Because this is real. I didn't set this up. And I can't believe I'm showing you guys my inner sanctum. But over there, see past that cat to the left? See all those books stacked up there? It's a whole table of books. Well, those are books that people have sent me, that I'm going to get to. They're not in the garage sale, are they? I'm going to get to them. I just can't find the time. And I have probably 300 books in my Audible library. And what I love about it, I can pick them up and put them down. They pick up exactly where I left off. I don't have to bend the pages and find 1,000 bookmarks. And I love being entertained. And when I'm in the car for an extended period of time, that's the first thing I do. I don't listen to music, I listen to books. So I want to ask you this. What is the current trend, Robert? Do we know? As far as I would say for every hardcover book I order, I've ordered probably 20 to 25 audiobooks in between. That's how rare it is for me to actually buy. Now, my husband, he devours 3 to 5 books a month and he gets nothing but hardcover. He doesn't do Audible. What's the trend nowadays? Especially, and is it different since we've come through COVID?
Oh yeah, the this is actually a couple of interesting stats that I want to share with you, Lauren.
Okay.
First of all, I would say you're looking at roughly 80 to 83% of the population listens to audiobooks, and that's a pretty significant number.
Yeah.
Audiobook sales growth averages roughly about 26.4% annually. Growth annually. So every year it's growing and growing and growing. Probably the most significant stat is that in 2019, audiobooks surpassed ebook sales. And the gap is getting wider and wider and wider. Now, it's not saying, if you have an ebook or paperback or hardcover that's not selling, they do sell. But the audiobooks are definitely on an upward gain, in regards to sales. So those are really interesting stats to keep in mind. And even on a level where, like some people are like, oh, I need to read the book, instead of listen. There is no difference, and this is a study that was done. There's no difference between comprehension level of somebody listening to a book or actually reading a book, whether it's visually or orally.
As far as retention and whatnot.
Yeah, it's the same. And actually, a lot of people now will buy an ebook version or even the paperback or hardcover as well and listen because they like the experience to really immerse themselves as they listen and read at the same time.
Well, and I'll say this. I have 3 books over there, and they're like this. That the reason I bought them was because I enjoyed the audio version first.
Hmm.
And I bought it because there were charts and pictures and things in there that they would tell you about while you're listening, that I felt like, wow, I don't want to miss that part of the experience. And so I did order the book. So it drove me. So they sold me twice, where it would not have gone that way had I bought the hardcover first. I most likely wouldn't have bought the audio.
Mhm.
And that's another thing. Audio and Audible are 2 different things. Audible is a brand, audio is a lane. And so I bet you a lot of us do that. So let me ask you this one. I've heard a rumor that it is best to release the Kindle version prior to doing your audio. What say you regarding that little piece?
That is actually the preferred method only because having your book published, when you go through the audiobook process and you setting it up and getting it prepared so that you can get published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books, when you set up your account to get published as an audiobook, what happens is that that information from your ebook is pulled in through ACX, which is the the company that you set up your audiobook with. It pulls in that information, which actually makes setting up your account so much easier. So it has all the information that you have on your ebook that's already published, pulls it right in, and then you just need to maybe make some adjustments in the description or whatever you need to do. But it finds the book and you claim your book, imports the information, and saves a lot of time of setup. So you don't have to reset everything like you did when you published your book in the first place. It does save a little bit of time. Now you can, of course, some people like to do a big launch where they launch their book and audiobook at the same time, which you can do that. You just have to be a little tricky in your actual launch date to make sure that everything is live when you want it to be, and then do a big launch with everything. But it depends on what the author's goals are for their book.
Okay, here's one, and I never thought about this before till just now. But you know how, like, there are magazines that are not print magazines, they're only online.
Mm-hmm.
Are there books that aren't hardcover paperbacks? They're not print, but they're only audio?
You can do that. It's just nice when you actually have an ebook or paperback or hardcover. The thing is, you have to have a completed book. Like you don't want to do, I got my my first draft or my manuscript, but I'm kind of not done with it. But as long as it's set in stone in regards to
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
If I had written the manuscript and it's been edited and it's ready to go, and I'm going to self-publish anyway, do I have the option of saying, you know what, I'm going straight to the audio version before I self-publish in print? Because of the trend. If more people are, but I know for ego purposes, a lot of us like to, look, here, want my book? Let me sign it. Because you don't get to sign an audio book. See what I'm saying? Right. Mine's over there, but it's going to stay over there. Well, what do you think, though? I mean, because I'm sure it's crossed somebody's mind. Is that something not to do?
You can do it. I just feel that having an ebook version of your book really is beneficial, because you're talking two different formats of your book, and there are some people who don't listen to audiobooks, and there are some people who are just audiobook people only.
Right, like
so
me.
Right. So, from a marketing standpoint, it really would make sense to be able to, cover both bases.
Have them both. Right.
And just have them both.
I agree. Okay. So the person, let's say John Block. Hi, John. I don't know why I used your name. He's coming to this event I just promoted. John Block. Here we go. So John Block has this book. It's published. He's done a couple signings. He's got a little traction on Amazon. Had the launch, went #1. And that's another thing. How does this play into helping a person reach those pinnacles, those milestone marks?
Right. So in my audiobook coaching program, which is called Your Book, Your Voice, we go over we go over a lot of.
That's not me. That's that man behind the curtain over there.
we go over a lot of things in the program, and one of them is talking about marketing strategies. Talking about how to promote your book, and going through the process of mindset as well, because that's a very important aspect before you even hit the record button, because you have to be in the right frame of mind before you even do a narration. We talk about voiceover and techniques, not only just from the technical standpoint,
Right.
but the mental standpoint, the intangibles, because the intangibles are what's key. The intangibles are what brings that book to that level of somebody being so engaged in what you're talking about, what your book's
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. And let's talk about hitting the record button. Let's pivot over to that side because I know a
Sure.
lot of folks are wondering. Now, I know a little bit about this because I came out of radio. Was in broadcasting out in Los Angeles, and I'm an AFTRA member. I still do voiceover work today. And the one place I know that I have never wanted to go is over to narrating books because it reminds me, I'm afraid it'll be like when I went to audition for an on-air spot at a classical radio station. And they set this big ass Rolodex in front of me and said, we're going to hit the clock, do 5 minutes of front and back announcing. And I was like, no problem, until I got to, you've just heard the so-and-so concerto by Weinswijk Gutenbank and produced by Batista King and directed by Ching Song Kanka. Right. And I was like, oh my God, I wanted to crawl under the building and just live there for the rest of my days. It was a horrible experience. So I'm getting to this point. What about a lot of people are intimidated about speaking? Now, this isn't public speaking, but we all know what it was like the first time we heard our recorded voice. We're like, that isn't me. That does not even sound like me. How do you help people get out of their own way if they think, I don't like the sound of my voice? Why don't I just pay someone else to do it? What is the benefit of the actual author narrating their own work as opposed to hiring an outside voice?
The first lesson that I teach in my program, mindset, that's number one. And we talk about being in the present moment, being grounded, all those things that you hear really do come to play when you are recording your audiobook. Then I have another lesson, a couple of lessons actually, where we talk about confidence. We talk about owning your voice. I explain about this thing, our head, which is a resonator of what we hear in our head is not what other people hear when
Correct.
you record. Now, again, own your voice, love your voice, because you have a great voice. You really do.
Stop.
And it's your
Robert.
unique voice which brings out your unique style. That's what makes you. And that's why as a nonfiction author, you need to tell your story. You're right. I would love to have, James Earl Jones or, Morgan Freeman do my audiobook, and they'd be fantastic. But you know what? They're not bringing my intangible, my personality, the way that I would express things. They do a great job.
Because you were there.
Yes.
You were there.
You lived it. You lived it. And no one can replace you. That's what makes us all unique individuals. That's why, AI can never replicate who you are.
Got that
because
right.
That's what makes you.
Absolutely right. Big piece right there, people, because I say it every day, literally. AI, there are certain things I will not leave to AI. You wouldn't break up with a lover through AI. Hopefully, you wouldn't want your doctor to deliver some prognosis via AI. You'd want a voice-to-voice, face-to-face, eye-to-eye, soul-to-soul moment. Because AI is soulless. It has no empathy. It has no charisma, no texture, none of the stuff that makes for storytelling. So let's talk about that piece. Two pieces that I think go hand in hand here. And as a professional speaker, this is important. So I'm going to bring it up. There must be some element of your program that works with people on, number one, voice and diction. All the elements, striking and landing, if you're popping your P's, if you're with your S's, all those irritating things that can turn a listener off. So let's say there's that. And let's say that breathing, there's a lot of elements. And I'm saying this not to scare you, but to say why you need a coach if you're really thinking about doing this, so you don't waste money, time, and the energy We don't want you to give up on this before you can even give it a fair shot. So I'm pulling out the things that you may not have thought about yet. So voice and diction, the art of storytelling, how to imagery drives the story. And then also, what about people that have really deep elements within certain chapters and stuff that could be triggering? Every time I watch my Goalcast, I cry. And I stop showing it when I'm on stages, because even though I turn my back to the audience and step off while they're watching, I'm back there trying to pull it together because it's triggering. Talk about how you help people over these aren't pitfalls. These are merely speed bumps. So, and this program is how long?
The program is 6 weeks, and we, there's two aspects you can do. The top tier obviously is one-on-one coaching, which doubles the amount of time
You're
that we
going to
work
need
together. Or then there is the group coaching, which is actually a great thing, because, well, first of all, it's small. Always I cap it at 8 people or less, because I want to keep it an intimate group. And a question somebody may have, or an issue that somebody may be having, could be something that someone else is, and they're like, oh wow, I never thought of that. Or what, that is a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. So being able to have that back and forth in a group setting is good as well. Now, for the one-on-one coaching, you do get to go to the group session, calls as well.
Right, you get it all. Right.
You get it all. But yeah, so in the program, there's a couple of lessons that we go through. Again, mindset, confidence, these things that you think, well, that's in an audiobook coaching program. Absolutely, mindset you need it. It's crucial. And so we talk about these things. And I give them tools and techniques about building confidence, about visualizing who you're talking to. And that's one of the exercises that we do, is like, have a specific person in mind that you're telling your story to. It's not, oh, I'm talking to this audience or this genre or this market. No, you're talking to, I'm talking to, for example, I have an author who's talking to his son, Asher. This is who I'm telling my story to. So it's that personal, because when you do that, that brings out your authenticity. That brings out you being conversational. And you do have these peaks and valleys of emotion, which is okay. It's okay to bring that through, because, again, that's your personality. That's what makes you you. And if there is something that is deep, or that brings up some emotion, it's okay to bring it through, because the listener is going on that journey with you. And that listener feels like you're talking to them directly. And that's what develops that intimate connection between you and the listener.
That's exactly right. I learned that the full trueness of that when I did my masterclass, because it was about speaking down the lens, they referred to it, where that I was speaking directly to that one person and not reading a teleprompter to the ethers.
Right.
And so let me ask you this part about this leg of the journey of audio booking. Because I put myself in the shoes to see. That's how I come up with these questions. I'm really thinking, what would I need? Sure, and I know me. I know that I am a critical. I have a hard time watching my stage performances. I don't rewatch these shows. When I have to cut a commercial day after tomorrow, I know I'm going to tell them send it to me when it's finished, because I am nitpicky about myself. I don't. I would want to, after the 6-week program, now it's time for me to go and cut my book. I would want you on speed dial. Because, well, think about it. When we have those moments of doubt and this and the other. So is that available? Is my question. Once a person finishes the official 6 weeks, but now 6 months later, they're ready to go into the studio or wherever they're doing it, but they need you to help them take it across the finish line. Is that something you offer?
Okay, so by the end of the 6 weeks, you will have your book already recorded. You will be done. You will have your book already uploaded and ready for publication. That's
how do you know that?
Because I've done it and I teach it.
So wait a minute. So we come to you when we're ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to
Oh,
turn your book into an audiobook. Great. So what you get, yes, you definitely get the coaching. That's part of it, and that's a huge aspect of it. But what I provide in the program is I provide the equipment for you. I tell and teach you how to set up your own recording space. You get a professional mic, headphones, all that. That's yours to keep. That's part of the program.
wait a minute.
So
So, because that's what's coming next. So
yes,
you provide everything we need to set up the studio to do the recording.
yes, yes. You set up
Okay.
your recording space. We go over, how to do it, and how to set up your space, how to use the equipment. Very detailed lessons, and obviously they're with you every step of the way.
Yeah.
The second portion of the course is the art of audiobook narration, voiceover techniques, how to everything that you mentioned about is what we talk about. Teaching you those tools and techniques to do a compelling narration, to keep your listener engaged from opening credits to closing credits. We go through it all. Now, when you record your book, it is divided up in sections. That's the way you do an audiobook. So every section of your book is one separate audio file. So if your opening credit, if you have an introduction, forward, uh, every chapter is a separate audio file, closing credits, acknowledgments, dedication page, all that are separate audio files. And which does it easier to record the book when you do it in sections. So when you're done recording, you send the files to me because, again, what I provide in my program is I do all the audio editing for you. I make sure that your files are to the correct specifications for publication. Because part of my tenure working in the entertainment world was spending 30 or 20 plus years as an audio post-production editor. So I take that skill and bring that in, so you get coaching and editing.
Right.
And then I will upload the files for you for publication in Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. The goal of the course is for you to focus on doing a fantastic narration. I don't want you to have to worry about all this crazy behind the scenes stuff. That's what I want to provide for you. So you get the equipment, I do all the audio editing for you, I'll upload the files for you. And by the end of the 6 weeks, your book will be at least uploaded for publication. And it takes maybe 10 to 15 days for it to go live. So.
I'm back.
Okay.
Keep going if they drop me out because they can still hear
Oh,
it to you.
all right. I wasn't sure. So that's the beauty of what I do. And also, I don't just take anybody off the street and say, "Oh, great, get into my program." It's not that. If you're interested, if you're a nonfiction author and you want to get your book published, schedule a call with me because I like talking with you first to hear about your book, tell me your story, and then I'll give you details about the audiobook coaching program, and we take it from there. And if it's something that you're ready to go and you want to dive in, we get you enrolled, and we get you started. And again, you have a choice of either going one-on-one coaching, which is one tier, or we can do the group coaching. Either way, you're going to get everything that you need to do a fantastic audio narration. Because remember, it is your story, your voice, and
Right.
you need to be the one to tell it.
Okay. All right. And we're going to circle back to those opportunities before we close out here today. I want to go now to what about the author who has written, let's say they write in the children's lane where there's a
Mhm.
bunch of, different characters, mystical things, where you can't, I wouldn't think if you're, I mean, do people do audiobooks for children?
Sure, there's definitely a children's audiobook, and it depends. It depends on what the story is. If the author who wrote the book, and they're very animated, and they want to narrate their own book, that's great. I'd be happy to work with them. But if they're, if it's let's say it's a fiction story. This is why I work mostly with nonfiction, just because you
Ah,
see. But if it's a fiction story,
okay.
that's where and some fiction writers say, want to narrate their own book, but usually, you would hire a professional. You would hire a professional voiceover person because you have characters, you have accents, you have other things that a professional voiceover person can bring to the table to, bring your book to life. If you're writing, a Lord of the Rings book, right? You have all these different characters that you can have a voiceover person do those voices, and it's a whole different experience. When you're dealing with nonfiction, or dealing with fiction, I should say.
What about people who, you write, say, an autobiography, or you're writing, and you write like you speak. So I'm leaning towards regionalisms and
Mhm.
slang, and in the African American world, ebonics, and all these different things. So, how difficult is it for you as an editor when you're hearing these things and you go, how do you know what's a mistake and what isn't if you're not familiar with that world that this person comes from? Does that make it difficult for you sometimes?
Um,
It sounds
you know,
wrong.
Sometimes, but again, the beauty of being the coach, and well, the coach's hat, and then we switch over to the audio editor's hat. So I'm working with that author throughout the entire process. So if I have any questions, I got direct contact to that author, and we can talk things out. The one thing that I did want to mention, that you had brought up earlier about staying in contact after the program,
Yeah.
is I do have a private Facebook group for clients only. And once you're in that group, you're in it forever. I don't boot you out. So you're part of it forever. So 6 months down the line, you have a question, yeah, definitely pop it in the group, and I'd be happy to answer it for you. And or let's say you're writing another book, you wrote another book. That's great. You don't have to go through the entire program again because you've already done it. But if you want to hire me just as your audio editor to do, the back end stuff of getting it, your files edited and then uploaded for publication, you know, definitely, definitely can
Okay.
can do that.
So, Robert, what are people going to find when they do their due diligence and they're like, okay, I love this idea. I think it could be for me. But just like when you're looking for a new car, you're going to go and you're going to comparative shop. So they're going to go and they're going to Google um, audiobook coaching, and they're going to find a bunch of different things out there. What would you say are the top 3 tips as far as how to know that this is the fit for you? And you're not, so you don't get taken, because if you're at the point where you're ready, it means you've already invested all the money in all the different things you needed to get the book in hand. And
Mhm.
so I can't imagine that taking this to the next level is going to be, nickels and dimes. It's going to be a sizable investment, and you want to make sure you found the right fit before you dig yourself in something you can't get out of. So what say you about that?
Okay, so there are other companies who do audiobook production. Most of them, will say, oh, we'll hire a narrator and this and that and the other. Now, if you say, hey, I want to do my own audiobook, that's fine. For example, I was talking to one author who said that he was looking at another company, which actually was more expensive than my program. And he said that he wanted to do his own narration. And they said, well, you need to come to our studio. You have 4 days to record and do whatever you need to do, and then we'll do our post-production aspect of it. But he would have to. I think he was in Arizona. He would have to fly to Texas to their studio on his own dime, to
Right.
their studio to do the recording. And honestly, if you're going to be doing your own audiobook, to put yourself under that pressure of, I have 4 days to narrate a 200 plus page book, that's a lot of pressure to be under. Are you really going to be doing your best narration performance?
Right.
And especially with people who who may not have the experience of doing speaking engagements or talking, or again confidence, that's a lot of pressure. You're not going to get the best quality for your audiobook.
Yeah. And it would seem to me that, you may not even deal with the same person twice.
That's
In
true.
something that's like a mill, just shooting people through just to get them through. And that one-on-one,
Right.
plus the group, the aftercare. I always call that the aftercare. Because you have it out there and it's not doing what you needed to do. Go back to the group and find out what people have done that have already dealt with that same little slow up, that little traffic jam, if you will. So
Right.
talk about some of your success stories of people you've worked with. You don't have to use their names unless you want to, but and then also I'd like you to talk about what people who do this for the first time say to you is the most challenging piece that they started at the beginning and thought, oh, I'm not so sure I'm going to be able to do this. But at the end of the day, they see that they were capable of more than they could have ever known. And so it was that kind of life-changing experience. Talk about that. I know you got some examples.
Yeah, matter of fact, I'm just finishing up a book right now with an author. She wrote a book about how she overcame cancer, which is an incredibly inspiring story. And what's so beautiful about her book is that she's very visual in her writing. So, and she uses mythology as a comparison to the journey that she went through in overcoming her cancer. And what was so incredible about the book, like I do my coaching and then I do my editing, and I'm very, meticulous and making everything clean sounding and sounding great. And then when I do the final mastering and output of the final file, that's where I really get to listen and really concentrate on how it sounds, but what's being said. And I tell you, every single time I get sucked into that story, I am so engaged in what that author is talking about. And she did such a fabulous job, for her emotional highs. I'm up there with her and those emotional challenges. I'm like, oh, come on, you're like rooting for that person. That's what happens. And this is the one surprise that authors discover about themselves. And like you talk about struggles and challenges, there's probably two things. One is confidence, right? The intangible. Confidence is one thing that people need to build when they do their audiobook. But, we talk about that. So when they start, they may be a little apprehensive, but I'll tell you, as they go along, their confidence builds, they get into a groove and a flow, and it just sounds fantastic. The other challenge I would say, and this is strictly on a technical aspect, is mouth noise. We get a lot of mouth noise and clicks and ticks and that kind of thing. So that's just something that we talk about, and that just be aware of how it's sounding. Is your mouth dry? Make sure you're hydrated. And then again, be in good postural form, whether you're sitting or standing. Those little technical things we do talk about. But I would say probably mouth noises is the biggest thing that I deal with from an editor's standpoint, because I'm cutting out a lot of little ticks and sounds when I'm doing my editing.
And the average book that comes to you is like, let's just say, how many pages?
I've had books from 130 pages to maybe 200, 250 pages. That's roughly the average of.
Okay. And what's the average amount of time it takes a person who is a novice to really knock it out and have a clean, marketable piece at the end? Is that of the 6 weeks? Is it 3 of the weeks, 4 of the weeks, 5 of the weeks?
Right. So the first lesson or first meeting, they've already had the equipment. They've already sent it to them before our first meeting. So they should already have that set up. They should already be watching the video lessons that come with the program. And then we talk about diving right in. So what they do is that they send me a test file first before I give them the green light, just so I can hear, is there Is their mic placement right? Is it, is there ambient sound or something in the background that's, that's too loud, or, whatever it is. And sometimes it's like, wow, this sounds fantastic. So hear this test file, have them make any adjustments they need to make, give them the green light to go. So after our first meeting, we're in week 1, you should already be getting ready to record, if not already recording. So here's a little formula to kind of give you an estimate about how much time it would take. So let's say, like, you can read an average of 93 to 9,400 words in an hour. I'm going to use 9,300 just to be conservative. So so you have 9,300 words. You take your total word count. So let's say your book is 40,000 words. You take 40,000, you divide that by 9,300, and then that'll give you roughly about how many hours it would take to read your book. So that would give you, like, let's say 4.3 hours to do that. If you had a 40,000 word book, you divide that by 9,300, you get 4.3. Now, multiply that by 2 at least when it comes to recording your book. You want to give yourself at least double that time, because you're going to stop and start. You may make mistakes, so give yourself time, double that time to do the actual recording. So for a book like this, maybe be 9 hours, maybe 10 hours to do it, to actually do it. And you're not going to do it all in one sitting.
Yeah. Robert, do people read like they speak? Like, if a person is a real rapid, or I'm real laid back from the South and everything's going to happen at its own time. Do people tend to read like they speak, or narrate like they speak?
Of course, there is an aspect of that. Doing a great delivery is something that I talk about and that I teach in the program. So even, if you're a super fast talker, then maybe we'll spend some time on pace. Or if it's excruciatingly slow, maybe again we'll talk about pace. But
where you're like,
what I that's right. but what I don't want to do is take away their style, their personality.
Your style, those things that make the essence of the true person. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Okay, we've got a few more minutes, and I wanted to tell us what your, here come the tips. The top 3 criteria for a person to know that they're ready for your program. When the first 3 things you ask, do you have this? Are you this? And I want to say, I'm assuming you record from the room you're in, and we see the soundproofing panels on the wall. Is that something people have to do? Am I gonna, because somebody's looking at it going, I don't have a room that I can soundproof. Where am I gonna do it? In my bathroom, in the basement? Talk about the space. What kind of space does the person need?
All right. So the number one thing is, if you're a published nonfiction author, you're ready for the program as far as I'm concerned, because you can do it. Since the program includes the equipment that you need to record, which is, again, a mic, headsets, a sound isolation screen that actually wraps around your microphone with a pop screen in front of it, so you don't have to worry about like a mini sound booth. Right, you don't need that. The mirror in Laura is fine. You can set up your recording space in a room like that. That's fine. Now, of course, you don't want to be in a bathroom or in a cathedral.
Right.
It's too echoey. But again, as part of the program, I'm teaching you how to set up your recording space. We go through all that technical stuff, and you know what? It's not as hard as you think. It's really easy to get set up, and I'm very methodical in my methods of teaching. So it's it's easy.
I love it. You've got the background of the industry, and you know it inside and out. As even all the points that people, and I'm talking to you all right now when I say this as we wrap up. And that's important. It really is. I'm in television, and a lot of my coaching clients end up with TV shows, and and recording their master classes and commercials and things. And a lot of the stuff I did years ago out in Hollywood still come into play today. And I'm so grateful for that. So I know the importance of getting with someone who's been there, who's actually lived within the industry and made a living, not watched as a spectator. Okay. So that's one of the things I really love about Robert. Oh, and let's just let this out of the bag. Robert Andrew Lane.
Nope.
Dang it.
That's not it.
I just knew this was it.
You're getting close. So you're right. I do take my experience as an audio editor, but also I am a published author. So I've gone through what you've gone through as an author of publishing a book. So I understand and get what it takes to be a published author. So it's not like somebody, I'm an audio guy and maybe I'll just do this, but I've never published a book. I don't understand how. No, well, you're getting that experience.
And here's the best part. It doesn't cost you a penny to book an appointment and just start the conversation. Doesn't cost you a penny. And on the bottom of the screen is where you can book that conversation, correct?
Absolutely. That's my calendar link. Book a call with me because I talk to every author before I sign them. And if you want more information about the program, you can go to robertlanecoaching.com as well. But that's the link to book a call. And I'd love to talk with you.
Yeah. And if you want to just check Robert out, like you said, you can go to robertlanecoaching.com. We'll leave that up. Both of those links are now inside your comment section for easy access. I highly recommend that you check it out. Everything you mean will become meaningful, but be informed, be smart about it. Protect your content, your intellectual content, your legacy. And I feel about this audiobook thing, just like I feel about masterclasses. Put your content in a virtual time capsule. Virtual time capsule. Put it someplace where it can live forever. We're manifesting, but not just for tomorrow, next week, or next month. We're manifesting for hundreds, perhaps thousands of years from now. So, Robert, I want to thank you so much. Great job today. And such good information. You're the first audiobook coach I've ever had. And I'm just grateful for you. So thank you so very much for being here today.
I appreciate it, Lloyd. Thank you so much.
Of course. And for all of you out there that are authors or not an author yet, but you're going to be, or someone who is an author or who is going to be, spread this out. Let them know about this. Bless this person in the manner in which you wish to be blessed one day. You won't regret it. Now, meet me tomorrow morning, God willing, out on the front porch right over there. And together, we'll do it again. Another illuminated conversation right here on Bathrobe Moments. And in closing, as I tell you every single day, I absolutely adore you. I love you. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. Robert, awesome. Absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul.